Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. Just waiting now for some people to trickle in, but I want to get started on time here now at 8 a.m. PST. My name is Danielle Pinkston. For anyone who may not have seen me before, I am SSI's training coordinator, and today I'll be hosting you all in the From Model to Machine webinar. We're going to kind of talk about some latest enhancements for structural forming and production drawings, those types of things. I'll kind of walk through them now in a second when I go over the webinar outline. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to post in the chat. I'm also going to kind of toss out a few interactions, just some polls and such throughout the webinar, because I like feedback and I want to ensure that you guys are getting the most out of these webinars that we're doing. And there's also going to be an evaluation form, just a short evaluation form at the end of the webinar. So if you could please fill it out, it really means a lot to us. And again, will help us provide better webinars moving forward in the future. Please don't mind my voice. I'm actually not sick. I got married on Saturday, so I am struggling to regain my voice through all the socialization. So without further ado, I see we have a good group of people here now. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn off my camera throughout the duration of the webinar, but I like to introduce myself face to face so you know who you're talking to or who's talking at you. So I'll go ahead and turn that off and move on to the webinar. 1 second here now. So from model to machine, first we can just take a brief look at the challenges that many organizations face when it comes to modeling processes, with structural forming processes, and also with production drawings specifically. So there are complicated lofting and forming processes that presently require a lot of manual effort from those on the shop floor. We're of course looking to kind of mitigate that as much as we can. On the shop floor, there's often a lot of chaos, and it's really easy for mistakes to be made. Various file outputs from different modeling software, increasing the complexity when it comes to third-party machine integration. So similar to the above point, we want to streamline these processes as much as possible, which can be a challenge when incorporating many different types of software. And a lack of production marking customization options. There's presently kind of a one-size-fits-all approach, which is not always the case. We know that in the design world and the shipbuilding world specifically, each project can be so unique. So we want to ensure that we have tools available to us that can kind of account for this. So today's topics. Now, a lot of these topics you've probably seen before in like maybe release webinars, but I'm kind of hoping today to kind of group them together in a comprehensive webinar and also provide a demo. So, you know, and as questions come up, please let me know. I throw them in the chat and I'll answer as soon as I can. So that's kind of the goal of today's webinar. So we're going to get started first with generating elongation information for Neil and Press, which was included in the 2025 release of ShipConstructor. Text position opposite to throw direction, a small feature that makes a big difference, and it was included in the 2025 R1.1 release. Double-sided markings on nests, allowing us to kind of customize the layers for near side, far side markings, and this was included in the 2024 R2.1 release. Standardized file output for machine integration, and this was included in the 2025 release. This one here, I'm actually going to provide a demo on this one and kind of walk you through the various file outputs that are generated from Publisher LT. And finally, we have the egg crate slotted templates, which was included in the 2025 R1.1 release. So we'll dive right into the generating elongation information for the Neil and Press. When it comes to forming curved plates, elongation lengths are generated in millimeters to create the exact curvature required for the hull formation. So for anyone that's not familiar with the Neil and Press machine, you can see an image here to the left. It kind of shows what the markings look like. Obviously, it looks like gibberish to me, but to a Neil and Press operator, these markings are crucial. These measurements are provided to the press operator who marks them directly onto the stock material prior to forming. And with the 2025 ShipConstructor release, elongation information can now be added automatically to plates during the plate expansion procedure within Hull, eliminating any need for manual effort and ensuring calculation accuracy, which is the important part. This also just speeds up the process overall, since it can now be done with the click of a button within ShipConstructor. Requires very little thinking. So just a brief overview of the process and how to actually avail of the feature. So it's selected within the plate expansion options when you are expanding any curved plates. So you'd expand your plate as you normally would. Only this time within the plate expansion options, you'll notice two new options here, kneel and press center and kneel and press side. You can select the option that best applies to you. Once selected, you click OK to expand the plate and generate the appropriate elongation information. It's as simple as that. And it will come out as an expanded plate that you just place anywhere in model space at your own discretion. And then you can use this expanded plate geometry to generate the necessary production drawings. So you can place the markings directly on the nests to ensure they're marked when nesting, or some users simply like to just generate the PDFs as shown here in the lower two images. So then the kneel and press operators can just take that information and use it in whatever way they'd like. Again, we kind of provide the tool, but the customization options allow for users and organizations to do whatever they'd like with this information. We have some pretty comprehensive demos. Actually, Aaron Eisberg, who's here today, he spent a lot of time creating this detailed article found on our KB page, Hull Forum Elongation Marking. So it has a lot of detailed topics here to kind of give you more information, not only just about using the feature, but also about the actual background thinking, I guess, why it's important. And he also created a really detailed demo video as well, which can all be found within this KB article on Nexus. So if you need any more information, that's where to go to find it. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to SSI Training at ssi-corporate.com or use our training support form, which is found all over our website. I'm also going to place my personal information on the last slide of this presentation. So any questions, we're happy to answer. We want to make sure that you are using these tools to the best of your ability, and obviously to actually use them properly, because I know it can be, these tools can be kind of complicated. So any questions at all, please let us know. So the next one, this one is pretty self-explanatory, and it is, again, a small feature with big impact. So text position opposite to throw direction. It applies to plates, and stiffener mark lines. Before the 2025 R1.1 release, text containing part names for stiffeners would actually clash with the throw direction symbol, as you can kind of see in the image here. Now users have the option to flip this text to the opposite side of the throw direction using the edit stiffener mark line interface. So I'll walk you through again just how to actually use this feature. So you simply select any mark line in question. The mark lines do have to be selected individually for this feature to work. You can't like mass select mark lines. You right click and select edit component within the right click menu. Select the checkbox at the bottom of the edit stiffener mark line interface where it says place text opposite to throw direction, and then you click OK. And you'll notice that the text no longer clashes with the throw symbol. The text has actually been flipped to the opposite side of the stiffener mark line. So I actually believe this was a wish list item. So yeah, we're pretty pleased to implement this. I know it definitely helps with visibility. So hopefully what I've kind of demonstrated here actually explains everything in pretty good detail. But if you do want some more information, on the community videos page of Nexus, there's actually a release webinar for ShipConstructor 2025 R1.1, which contains a brief overview of this feature, as well, along with some additional information that users may find useful. It's around the 4:37 mark if you don't want to watch the entire video. Double-sided nestings. This feature we're super excited about. I know that this was an ask as well. Prior to the ShipConstructor 2024 R2.1 release, all marking information on nests would end up on the mark layer. So there weren't really any customization capabilities here. Many different layers now exist, allowing for increased user customization and the ability to visualize markings on both sides of the plate. And not only can you customize the layers, but you can customize the colors of the parts on these layers. So it makes it a lot easier to visualize where everything lives on a nest at a glance. So simple to set up, all within ShipConstructor Manager. So yeah, I'll walk you through the process of setting up these layers. Super simple. So layer names are established within Manager. You can customize these to say anything you'd like them to say. So here you can kind of see within the highlighted section here that presently they all say mark because all the parts once existed on the mark layer. And once you've set those, you can scroll down even further within the project settings within Manager, and you'll notice under NC Pyros colors, you can actually adjust the colors associated with these new layers that you just established. Export your nest DXF using the same processor, but now upon exporting, you'll notice here to the right-hand side of the interface that there are new layer names. So I just simply set them up as mark near side, mark text near side, mark text far side, and mark far side. And also the datum line, which usually resides on the mark layer as well. I set that to datum. Upon opening a newly exported Nest DXF, establishing these custom settings, you'll notice new layers and part colors that correspond with your criteria. So one thing to note is that the actual color of the layer doesn't change. So you'll still see up in the layer manager dropdown that, the layers are still showing up as white. However, the parts on the layers are changing color. It's all at your discretion as well. I mean, if you still want to leave these as the same color, that's totally at your discretion. But again, the customization does exist for users. And again, if you want some more information, so this is actually where we've got into adding some new information into our curriculum. So within the Plate Nest curriculum, you'll find 3 new and updated sections along with corresponding videos all within the Plate Nest curriculum, like on the SSI Learning Nexus page. And there's also an excellent demo that exists on our videos page, SSI 2024 R2.1 Nest DXF demo. So hopefully among this information, you will find what you're looking for. And if not, again, please reach out. We're happy to help. Standardized file output for machine integration. So this one's also pretty neat. This all happens within Publisher LT operations, super simple. So I'm going to provide a little bit of a demo on this one. So the purpose of this feature is to mitigate any integration difficulties between ShipConstructor software and third-party production machinery. There are 2 file types that may be generated: DXF files, which provides a way to visualize the part, and XML files, which provide parametric data for the part. And yes, as I previously mentioned, the operations are ran using Publisher LT. And the 2 new operations are specific for different types of parts. We have one for plate nestable part data and one for profile part data. And they do generate different outputs depending on the criteria of the parts. So I will get into that a little bit in the demo just to kind of explain. But there's also a really good table that exists within the Enterprise Platform Publisher LT curriculum that actually details what you can expect to see as output for these 2 operations and the different part criteria. So yeah, I'll get into this, the demo. So just give me 1 second here now to just set myself up. In the meantime, just confirm there's no chat, no messages. Okay, great. Okay, so actually to get started, I'm just going to kind of show you. So I actually have the Publisher LT curriculum open here. So within the one of the new sections that we've created, reviewing the results, you can kind of see what you can expect as the output depending on the criteria of your parts. So for instance, curved plates will generate only a nest DXF. And again, that's only if the part is nested. Model DXFs aren't actually generated automatically because they are complex and take a lot of time. So it's not part of the standard operation. With respect to fabricated profiles, you'll find a nest DXF for every associated component and a model DXF on a hidden layer, which I will walk you through as well. For every nest DXF for the entire fabricated profile. These fabricated profiles will not return XMLs. Regardless of whether or not they're nested or not. If it's not nested, so this is where you start. So again, I kind of separated it here with nested and not nested because the results do vary based on whether the parts are nested or not nested. So if they are not nested, you'll just see one single model DXF. With respect to plates, they'll return a nest and model DXF as well as an XML file. You don't get the nest DXF if the part is not nested. And profiles will return a model DXF and an XML regardless. Well, they're not nested. So yeah, so I will kind of walk you through now a little demo here of that. So, okay, so yeah, the operations XML is actually found within users, your own username, app data, roaming, I think it's SSI, and then the enterprise platform version that you are using. And there's the operations XML. So yeah, the part that I manipulated that I kind of mentioned, I guess you all heard it, but you didn't see it. So yeah, so here it is. This is all I manipulated to give me the part name folders was true. And it is kind of explained here to put export plate nestable part data into folders named after the part name. So right now, that's kind of what I was just chatting about. You see it as, now let me get back to the project. Lots of folders. Yeah, so this is the standard, which is GUIDs or part IDs. Trying to make them bigger, but yeah, so this is the standard. But if you would like to change it to part names, which is what you see here. So I find it easier to manage and look at. So yeah, that's what we're kind of looking to. But yeah, that's all you have to change is quite literally just change this from false. So again, the standard that comes in is false. Change that from false to true, click save, and yeah, that's it. And again, like I mentioned, standard is for XML and DXF to both be brought in, both, but you can change it based on the two operations, plate part data or profile part data. And you can also, if you do want to bring in the curved plates, the curved plate model DXFs, you can set this to false as opposed to true. And yeah, you can kind of manipulate it in whatever way you choose. So yeah, I will start over just, yeah, with respect to the different parts. So the first one that we mentioned was the curved plate, PO2. And this here will bring in a nest DXF. Again, I just kind of showed you it's not set presently to bring in the model DXF as well. You can set it so that it does, but standard is for it to simply bring in the nest DXF. So this is what you'd expect. Then here is the second part, which is a fabricated profile, which again, we don't expect it to be nested. Well, this individual nest DXFs will come in if these individual parts have been nested. In this case, they haven't, which is why you're only getting the model DXF. And for these fabricated profiles, you will not get an XML. And again, that's all kind of outlined here in within the Publisher LT curriculum. Okay, the next one we want to showcase, which one haven't I shown? Here we go. Yeah, so this is just a standard plate. So you will return a DXF and an XML. If the part has not been nested, you'll see the model only written here, but this is indicating to me where it doesn't show model only that the part has been nested. So I'll kind of show you here now what it will look like if you have both a model DXF and a nest DXF living within the same file. So your Nest DXF will be here. It will be what you'll see automatically when you open it. If you come and look at the folder up at the layer manager, you'll notice model DXF is on a hidden layer. So you can turn it on and it lives generally down in the right lower side here. And there we go. So yeah, this has been nested and it generated a model DXF as well. It also generated the XML, which again is the parametric data, which can be used or is often used by third-party machinery. So you have all this information based on what you're looking for. And then finally, we have the profile. So profiles will automatically create their own folder here. And then you'll see if there are multiple profiles, they'll all live within here. Here we go. And then you'll notice the DXF and the XML. So we'll open the DXF first. Here we go. So yeah, this doesn't create a Nest DXF. It simply creates the model DXF. So here's your profile. And then the XML. So yeah, the real thing that I kind of wanted to highlight here was the different varying results based on what you're looking for and how simple it is for you to customize that criteria within the operations XML. And of course, using Publisher LT is super, super easy. I wanted to have this list of parts and do it both ways. So it was also super easy for me to clear everything. I actually, I'm trying to remove everything. And I exported everything. So then it was also super easy for me to just import all the parts. And I made it so I exported the parts along with their operations. So just because when you do manipulate the operations XML, it's good practice to close Publisher LT and reopen it. So, you can kind of play around with it to do whatever you'd like to do. But yeah, these are the different types of files you can expect. It is also really well laid out within our curriculum here. We've actually walked you through different parts and what you can expect based on the results. So paired with this table, hopefully there aren't any questions. One thing you'll notice as well when you run the operation, you may see completed with warnings, which does actually, when I ran this operation, it did actually generate the completed with warnings message. And that will just appear like it's nothing to be alarmed about. It just appears if for any reason one of the files wasn't able to be created. So for instance, if like a Nest DXF wasn't actually able to be generated because the part wasn't nested. So then you'll get completed with warnings. So it's just an alert. So if you, for some reason, don't actually see all the files you expected, there could be a reason for it. Like, for instance, it's not nested or something like that. So if I don't know if there are any questions about the demo, I do sincerely apologize for the PDF mishap, but hopefully it still makes sense. And if we're actually planning to probably do another just walkthrough or demo on and place it on SSI Learning. So hopefully that'll be helpful. But I also have, I'll get back to this here now. Yeah, there's also, so that's what I'm going to show next. There is actually already some more information that exists. So as previously mentioned, we have the Publisher LT curriculum that has 2 new sections for actually running the operation and reviewing the results. And there's also a really good demo within our demo video library, SSI 2025 standardized files for plates and profiles, full demo. So hopefully through all of these different resources, you should be able to easily implement this within your own processes. So finally, now we have the egg crate slotted templates. These were introduced in the ShipConstructor 2025 R1.1 release. And they streamline the forming of complex curved hull plates, allowing for a fabricator to easily slot the individual templates together to form one single template to verify hull curvature. Actually have a neat demo here. As we know, hull curvature can be very complex. So having this ability to derive these templates automatically and directly from your unique hull model drastically improves the ease at which the curvature can be successfully verified, and it reduces any potential for error in the hull forming process. So yeah, just a brief demo or walkthrough of how the workflow of this feature actually works. So similarly to the kneel and press, this is actually done within the templates tab of the plate expansion options. Under geometry, you'll notice the egg crates where the arrow is pointing there. So you'll just select that. And there's also the options button directly next to that, which allows for further customization of these templates. Within this interface, you'll see that users can modify the cut-out width of the slots. And you'll also see that you can choose to add lightning holes and actually define these lightning holes in whichever way you choose. And all you have to do is click OK, and these templates will generate. You actually place them the exact same as you would with any expanded plate, and then you can choose to nest them if you want to. And well, you probably will assign the stock and then cut them out, and then you can use them to actually verify your hull curvature. For more information on this, we also have a really good demo under our demos video library titled SSI 2025 R1.1 Egg Crate Slotted Templates. Is actually run through by Matthews, who is the PO for the team that created this software, this feature. Yeah, so hopefully everything made sense, and hopefully some of these tools are very useful to you. I actually forgot throughout to actually send my polls because I was so caught up in my information. So I might send one of these out to you now while I give everybody a brief moment to ask me any questions. So there you go. One of the polls is live now. If you wouldn't mind just quickly responding there. And yeah, if there are any questions at all, I'm more than happy to answer. You're also, if something comes up throughout the next couple of days or weeks, feel free to reach out with these questions. I'm more than happy to answer those as well. And again, as I mentioned, when we actually close the webinar, when I actually end the webinar, there will be a brief evaluation form. Really, really appreciate it if you'd fill that out. And one of the questions actually on that evaluation form is regarding future topics. So that's something I'd really like for you to think about. We're trying to do one of these webinars. Honestly, I'd like to get to a point where we're doing them on a monthly basis. If there are topics that you find interesting or something that you'd really like me to cover in like a detailed demo, you can even mention that as well. Because again, this was kind of a high level overview with a brief demo. But I'm more than happy to do demos of anything if it makes it easier for you. I have one more poll as well, again, that I kind of forgot to send out. It's more just for me to get to know you, what kind of people, what our audience here is. So I just sent that out as well, just so, yeah, I can get to know who's here and kind of tailor my presentations moving forward based on the types of people that are attending. We're super grateful that you're all here. And yeah, hopefully this is super valuable for you. And any feedback is good feedback. I appreciate it. Excellent. And yeah, thank you to everyone who participated in the polls. Really appreciate it. And if that's it, I will end this off. Again, I'm going to just throw this up here. It has my information. So if you want to reach out, again, provide feedback or ask questions, I'm happy to answer. Great. Well, thanks everyone for attending. Really appreciate it. And we will end it there. Thanks everyone.